Chiefs Kingdom, it is early in the morning here on Tuesday, November 5th. Some people view it as Election Day. I personally view it as the NFL trade deadline. And the Chiefs have up until 4 p.m. this afternoon to make all of their last-second trades to bolster this roster before the postseason. Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy. And like I just said, Brett Veach has up until 4 p.m. this afternoon to make all of those last-second trades to bolster this team's roster before the 2025 playoffs. And you might be wondering, who could the Chiefs get to top what they've already done so far at the deadline, going to acquire DeAndre Hopkins for a conditional fourth-round pick and getting edge rusher Joshua Uche from the Patriots for a future day 3 pick? You might be wondering, how could the Chiefs top that? Well, they could potentially make a big-time splash and trade for cornerback Marshon Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. The Chiefs have been linked to Lattimore from the Saints. The Saints just fired their head coach. It could be a great time to trade on a bad team in New Orleans and get Marshon Lattimore to be this team's cornerback 2 for the next week, which would be crazy to add Lattimore to this team at the deadline. That would mean you're adding a wide receiver 1, a edge rusher who could be a starter by the end of the season, and also somebody who's your automatic cornerback 2. And that's not to mention there's other guys out there at the deadline at both the cornerback position and wide receiver. The Chiefs may try to make a couple moves. As you guys saw in the Chiefs' overtime win against the Buccaneers, the Chiefs had some injury problems, whether it was Patrick Mahomes or Mecole Hardman, who suffered a shoulder injury and was questionable, but he came back to play. The wide receiver room is going to deal with a bunch of injuries, and when Hardman went down, there was 3 guys. It was DeAndre Hopkins, who got acquired 2 weeks ago. It was Justin Watson, who's been old reliable in this offense, and then it was, I think it was Justin Ross. So it was very slim pickings there for the wide receiver room. And so maybe going out and trading for a Darius Slayton for depth, or there's other guys out there that might make sense. I've thrown the name DJ Moore out there, and while that one might not make the most sense, the Bears aren't going to win anything anytime soon. So maybe that's a viable option. Mike Williams from the Jets. There's plenty of wide receivers out there that could make this Chiefs team better. But I think, we've talked about this seemingly every day for the past week. I think the bigger need for the Chiefs right now is cornerback. You've got, DeAndre Hopkins, who's your number 1 wide receiver, and so far looks like the guy that he was, back in Arizona with this Chiefs offense. So you have your number 1 wide receiver, but you don't have your number 2 cornerback. Right now, outside of Trent McDuffie, you're cooked. You got guys like Joshua Williams, Chris Rowland-Wallace, that are playing meaningful snaps for this defense. And as you've seen over the past couple weeks, they've been getting exposed, whether it's by tight ends or wide receivers. That number 2 cornerback position has been a target for other teams, and they've had great success against the defense in that area. And so trading for somebody like Marshon Lattimore, who you already have the rumors, it would be a cheap contract to take on this year. He'd only be $600,000 to acquire for this season. And there's an opt-out after this season, and the Chiefs could cut him and never have to pay the majority of that contract that's going to hit next year and the year after that. So for a cheap 1-year rental, Marshon Lattimore makes a ton of sense. And the fact that the Saints just fired their head coach, they're 2-7, they just lost to the Carolina Panthers. They're done. And they've got so many cap issues that they're going to have to make some tough decisions and some tough trades. And so Marshon Lattimore could be a Chief by the end of the day. And that's my official prediction. I think Lattimore does end up coming to Kansas City. I think that Brett Veach pulls off this move. Adam Schefter's been saying that the Chiefs are in constant communication with the Saints about going to get him. He said the same thing about DeAndre Hopkins. And look what Hopkins just did. He got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's already been an instant producer in this offense. And so I do think there's a good chance that Lattimore ends up in Kansas City. But even if it's not him, J.C. Horn from the Carolina Panthers, Greg Newsome II from Cleveland, there's plenty of guys out there. There's a Patriots cornerback that could be a good fit in this system. There's plenty of guys out there that I think Brett Veach could trade for to make this roster better. But I think that right now, you've got to target that cornerback 2 spot because it's been a big weakness for this Chiefs team over the past couple weeks. So Chiefs Kingdom, what do you guys think? What do you think is a bigger need? Do you think that cornerback 2 is bigger than wide receiver? And who do you want to see get traded to this Chiefs team before the deadline? I think that Marshon Lattimore is the very popular name that we've been talking about, but there's plenty of other guys that could get traded to this team and make a big impact right away. But before we continue, guys, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors of this channel all football season long. At Rice Real Estate Group, they're more than just a real estate team. They're a full-service partner in residential, commercial, and investment properties. They specialize in guiding clients through every stage, from the buying and selling process to handling complex, short sale situations with ease. Their passion lies in the personal one-on-one care they bring to every client relationship, ensuring each experience is tailored, smooth, and successful. Here it's all about building trust, delivering expertise, and ensuring every client feels valued throughout their journey. For more information, call Marla Rice at 816-819-9333. The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, in a new ESPN Bet Sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow them on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Huge shout out to the Rice Real Estate Group and the Hollywood Casino for sponsoring this YouTube channel all football season long. But getting back to it, this is going to be one of the last videos that I have the opportunity of making before the trade deadline. I hope that I can get something out later today, but I'm recording this right after the Chiefs took down the Buccaneers. So it's going to be difficult, but I think the Chiefs are still looking for a cornerback too. I really do. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't truly believe it. I think that Brett Veach has quietly sat and watched Chris Roland Wallace and watched Joshua Williams struggle. And Jalen Watson, your cornerback too, broke his ankle and probably isn't coming back anytime soon. And so if Brett Veach wants to almost ensure a Super Bowl championship, you go out and make this trade. You go out, you get a cornerback too, whether it is one of the names that I've talked about, maybe it's somebody else on a bad football team that would be willing to give up one of their young cornerbacks to this Chiefs team. Now, as we've seen, it's difficult for some teams to trade with the Chiefs because they are the Chiefs. But I do think that if Brett Veach is shrewd, if he's smart, he could get somebody good. But at the same time, I think that the theme over this deadline has been the Chiefs are going to be resourceful, be conservative with what they give up for players. And they've gotten 2 players that are probably going to be impact players for this team for day 3 draft picks. And so I think that the value has to be there for Brett Veach. And with Marshon Lattimore, the Chiefs are not going to overpay to get him. They're not. And so I could see Brett Veach offering a day 3 pick, maybe, just maybe a 3rd round pick if New Orleans can eat some of that cap space for next year. But I don't think that Brett Veach would just willingly give away, a high draft pick for a 1-year rental where the future is uncertain. I don't think that's what he would do because he hasn't done that during his time in Kansas City. It's been very low risk, but has the opportunity to be a very high reward. And for the receivers, I think you should go get somebody else like a Darius Slayton, who you could probably get for a 6th or a 7th round draft pick because the value's there. And you've seen countless times so far this season, the injury bug is going to continue to bite. And you want to have enough bodies in this offense so you can kind of sustain that hit of losing a wide receiver on any given week. Because right now you're hanging on. And hopefully you can kind of get some guys back healthy like Hollywood Brown and Pacheco. But why risk it? Why not just go out and trade another day 3 pick, a horrible draft pick to get Darius Slayton into this offense? And that's a guy that you can rely on right away to be a consistent wide receiver in your offense. And for that reason, I would be a massive fan of it. But again, I think that cornerback 2 is the big need for this team. If nothing else happens tomorrow, or I guess early this morning, if nothing else happens today, the Chiefs should make a trade for a cornerback, whether it's Lattimore, whether it's Newsome, whether it is J.C. Horn. They must make a trade for somebody in the cornerback room to add to it, to give them some more talent. Because right now, guys, I don't know if this room is good enough to win a Super Bowl. I don't want to see Joshua Williams and Chris Roland Wallace playing meaningful snaps when this team is trying to win a Super Bowl. So I think that cornerback 2 should be the biggest priority today before the deadline. And Brett Veach is on a time crunch. He's going to have to do this very quickly. But I do think that we should all have so much trust in Brett Veach that he's going to make the right moves to put the right talent on the field so we can go out there and three-peat. Because right now, the Chiefs are 8-0. Things look pretty good. He's a move or two away from just ensuring this team's 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. And I am super excited to see it. So Chiefs Kingdom, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of this video. That's all I have for today. If you guys like this video, hit the like button and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find it. I've been pushing stuff out each and every single day. And if you support me, not only should you support the sponsors, but you should also hit the like button on this video and share it so more Chiefs fans can find it. As for me, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok, KC_Sports Report, and Twitter at KC Sports Report. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.